In a quiet corner of a working-class neighborhood, life for Marcus Johnson was anything but easy. A single father in his late 30s, Marcus lived in a small, two-bedroom house with peeling paint on the porch and a yard overgrown with weeds. He didn't have time to cut. The house had once been full of laughter and warmth, but after his wife passed away 3 years ago, it had become a place of survival more than anything else. His world now revolved around his daughter, Alina, Alina, was 10 years old and carried the kind of quiet brilliance that made her teachers take notice. She had her mother's eyes, deep and thoughtful, and her father's stubborn determination. Despite the hardships, Marcus made sure she never missed a meal, always had clean clothes, and got to school on time. He worked nights at a warehouse, unloading trucks, and in the mornings he took odd jobs, fixing fences, trimming trees, even hauling garbage when it paid, but none of it was easy, and yet. Marcus carried himself with a kind of quiet dignity, never asking for handouts. He had one goal in life, to make sure his daughter could live a life better than his. He told her often, "The world may not give you much, but you don't need much to give the world something beautiful." One day, as they sat on their worn-out couch after dinner, Alina looked up at him with a spark in her eye. "Daddy," she said, "we have a science fair coming up next month. The winner gets a scholarship to that STEM camp I told you about." Marcus knew the camp. Alina had cut out the flyer from school and taped it to her bedroom wall. "It cost more than he made in 2 months. That's amazing, baby." Marcus smiled. "What's your project going to be?" "I want to build a model of a solar-powered water purifier," she said, bouncing with excitement, "like the ones used in remote villages. But I need help. I need parts, solar cells, plastic piping, maybe even some glass or tubing." Marcus nodded slowly. He had no idea how they would afford that, but he didn't show it. He just said, "We'll find a way." And so began their journey. For the next few weeks, Marcus became a man on a mission. After every shift, after every side gig, he wandered the back alleys of the city, collecting scrap. He dug through dumpsters, picked through discarded electronics, old lamps, broken toys, anything that might have usable wires, parts, or panels. People began to notice. Some mocked him, whispering as he passed by, assuming he'd fallen further into poverty. A few kind souls offered him loose change, thinking he was just another man down on his luck. He never took it. One afternoon, Mrs. Green, an elderly widow who lived down the street, stopped him as he was dragging an old microwave down the road. "Marcus, are you okay?" she asked gently. He smiled. "Just collecting parts for my daughter's science project, ma'am." She looked surprised, then quietly went into her garage and returned with a box of old tools and gadgets. "Take these. I was going to toss them anyway. Maybe they'll help." Word spread. The whispers stopped, and soon neighbors began leaving things on his porch: broken radios, dusty batteries, even a cracked solar lamp someone had thrown away years ago. Marcus spent every free moment learning. He watched videos, read guides, and asked questions at the hardware store. At night, he and Alina sat at the kitchen table, piecing everything together. She kept a journal of each step, carefully labeling the components, drawing diagrams, and explaining the science behind it all. Her model slowly came to life. By the time the science fair came around, Alina's project was a masterpiece. It stood proudly on a sturdy wooden board, decorated with carefully handwritten explanations and small arrows pointing to each working component. The solar panel powered a small pump that pushed water through a filtration system made from repurposed plastic, activated charcoal, and sand layers. The water dripped slowly but steadily into a glass container, clean and clear. The judges, a mix of teachers, local scientists, and one guest from the Regional Science Council, moved slowly from project to project. When they reached Alina's station, she stood tall, wearing a second-hand dress her dad had ironed to perfection. Her eyes shone with pride as she walked them through her design. One of the judges, a man in a sleek gray suit, asked, "Where did you get your materials?" Alina smiled brightly. "My dad and I collected them from scrap. We built it together." The judge nodded, intrigued. After the presentations ended, the school auditorium buzzed with chatter as everyone waited for the results. Marcus stood at the back, still in his work uniform, his hands stained with oil and glue from helping Alina finish the project that morning. Finally, the principal took the stage. In third place, she announced, is Emma Callahan for her robotic arm. Prototype applause. In second place, James Lynn for his environmental sensor kit. More applause. And in first place, the scholarship winner for this year's regional STEM camp, Alina Johnson, for her solar-powered water purification model. The room erupted. Alina's classmates clapped, teachers smiled, and Marcus stood frozen, a smile slowly stretching across his face, pride swelling in his chest. He watched his daughter walk up to accept her ribbon, holding her head high. Afterward, as families gathered and congratulated the winners, the man in the gray suit approached Marcus. You're her father? He asked. Yes, sir, Marcus said, wiping his hands on his jeans, a little self-conscious. I'm Judge Nathaniel Carter. I represent the Regional Science Board. We sponsor the camp. I have to say, your daughter's work was one of the most impressive entries we've seen in years. Innovative, resourceful, and most of all, meaningful. Marcus nodded humbly. She did all the thinking. I just helped her gather the parts. She told me, the judge said. But that's what caught my attention. The judge paused, then added, you see, we've been talking about launching a mentorship and sponsorship initiative for underrepresented students in STEM. I think your daughter would be a perfect candidate. Marcus blinked, not quite understanding. I want to offer Alina not just the camp scholarship, but a full-year mentorship, access to labs, equipment, and even a small grant for her next project. And if she's willing, I'd like to feature her story in our upcoming conference. The way you both created something powerful from so little, it's exactly the kind of inspiration young minds need. Marcus's voice caught in his throat. She'd love that. Thank you, truly. The judge smiled. The world needs more fathers like you. Later that night, after the excitement had calmed, Marcus and Alina sat on their porch, a quiet breeze rustling through the trees. Did you have fun today? He asked. She nodded. The best day ever. I'm proud of you, Alina. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I couldn't have done it without you. He chuckled. I didn't even know what a solar panel did a month ago. She giggled. Well, now you do. They sat in silence, watching the stars above. To anyone passing by, it looked like just another night. But in that small house, something extraordinary had happened. A father's love and a daughter's dream had built something much bigger than a science project. They had built hope, and from hope, they had lit a path forward. This is what we believe in on kindness stories. That sometimes the most incredible moments don't come from grand gestures, but from quiet determination and love. That kindness shows up in the way a father searches through scrap not for money, but for his daughter's dream. That even when the world offers little, people can still give everything. And sometimes the world responds in the most beautiful, unexpected ways. Marcus continued working his jobs, but he did so with a new energy. He wasn't just providing. Now, he was investing in a future, Alina's future, and Alina, now known at school as the Solar Girl, became an inspiration to other kids who didn't come from privilege. Kids who started asking more questions, dreaming a little bigger, knowing that brilliance wasn't about having everything, but doing something amazing with what little you had. At the science conference a few months later, Alina stood on a big stage, speaking into a microphone that trembled slightly in her hands. I built this with my dad. She told the audience of engineers, educators, and students we didn't have much, but he never said no. He told me we'd find a way, and we did. I think science should be about that, about finding a way. Her speech received a standing ovation. And Marcus, sitting in the front row, clapped the hardest of them all. Because in that moment, he wasn't just the man who once dug through dumpsters. He was the man who helped his daughter change her world, and maybe even someone else's. Thank you for being with us on Kindness Stories. If this story touched you, remember, sometimes the smallest act of love creates the biggest impact. See you in the next story.